I suppose the big question then is why? When it comes to disinformation, why would people want to spread that?
Well, it varies really, and there are all kinds of different types of people who spread misinformation. So, throughout the pandemic, we've been looking at examples of misleading posts and messages on Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and that's given us quite a good idea about the kinds of characters who spread this stuff. There are, for instance, the politicians you might be able to think of who say misleading things, and those claims are then spread on social media or even directly acted on by people who hear them. So we have 3 golden rules to try and help people stop the spread of misinformation, because like I said, obviously it's really important for governments and regulators and tech companies to get to the bottom of who's behind this stuff, why they're doing it, and to deal with the source. But actually curbing the spread of misinformation is just as helpful and really important in stopping it going further online. So our first rule is always just to stop and think before you share anything. When you see something, just pause for a second, don't react, don't just forward it on straight away. Really reflect on what it's about, who's sharing it, whether they have any kind of bias, the reason why they might be sharing it, who might have come up with it in the first place. The second thing we tell people to do is think about how it makes you feel, because generally the kind of misinformation that goes viral is stuff that makes you feel really upset or really angry or even really excited, and it's the accurate information that's actually quite boring. So you should really stop and think about how it makes you feel. And then the other vital thing to do is just to check your source. So we noticed with misleading information, it often isn't attributed to anyone, or it is, but it seems to be very vague. So someone who works in a hospital somewhere, or someone's friend's cousin's neighbour who lives next door who sent this on to you, and it can be very easy to get lost in this game of almost Chinese whispers that goes on online. And so it's really crucial to have a look, to check what's going on the official sites that you would turn to, like the World Health Organization or like the NHS here in the UK, or even looking at other, for instance, the vaccine trials and the kinds of universities and institutions running them. You want to turn to trusted health bodies and institutions for the right information.
Which is exactly what they're doing with their questions, by the way, so thank you for your insight. We've got one from Knock Iona. Now she asks, how do you spot fake news? I asked you how you avoid it, but how can you spot it?
So there are some red flags that we often notice when we look at misleading posts or misleading information. The first one is a bit like one of those top tips I gave, which is check your source. So often misleading posts and messages have those really vague introductions where it seems to be from someone who works at a hospital or a professor or as someone's friend's cousin. And what you need to do is try and get to the bottom of who is that person? So Google them, see if you can find the doctor or the institution that's being referenced. You know, look at their website if it's a specific hospital or university, see if they've put any information up about this. Or ask your friend who sent it to you, where did you get this from? Where did you see it? And more often than not, they'll say, oh, my friend sent it to me and I passed it on. It hasn't come directly from them. Yes. But when information's being forwarded in that way, it can feel really direct, like someone you trust and know is sharing important information with you. There are other red flags as well. So you often can see things like when it's on Facebook or in text format, you often see a mishmash of different fonts or capital letters saying big announcement, please share this on. All those kinds of things are classic red flags that fact checkers look out for when they're trying to monitor stuff. And then, as we said, kind of on that emotional point, but often pictures and images that really evoke a reaction. For instance, really sad ones of, say, I don't know, coffins or where people have been unwell and are incredibly ill. And those pictures can often be misleading, not of the places they say, not showing the things that they say. So you can take it upon yourself really to be a bit of a detective. There are loads of tools on the internet that you can use, like reverse image search that allows you to see if a picture was posted a time before. And effectively we can all become detectives because there's so much misleading information. I can't do it on my own. The team at the BBC can't do it on our own. And to be honest, most governments and other institutions can't really do it on their own either. So it's about each of us being responsible and actually taking it into our own hands to suss out whether something's true or not.
If I was sat at home watching this now, people are feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of information. Some of it's true. Some of it, as we've spoken about, isn't quite so true. What would you say to people who are perhaps at home feeling quite scared now?
One thing that I often find when talking about misinformation is older people can often be more likely to fall foul to misleading stuff because they're not so used to using social media, but it's younger people who are more exposed to it, and we might not be so likely to believe it or be susceptible to it. We'll see something on Instagram and think, oh god, that's rubbish, but we consume so much of it that it can really exhaust us and really overwhelm us. And so it's crucial just to make sure that you're not spending too much time on your phone. And for us, news isn't just on apps. It's not just on the BBC News app or on Twitter. It's on Instagram. A celebrity can talk about 5G and coronavirus, falsely linking the two, and you see that when you're also looking at pictures of your friend cooking banana bread at home or other stuff like that. So it's crucial just to remember that all social media exposes us to what's going on at the moment because it's part of everyone's lives, and you need to take a moment to both pause for yourself and pause to make sure you're not sharing things that could be misleading or unhelpful to other people.
Marianne, that's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much for your time and thank you for your insight.